It's a honey yabano. It's a honey nut squash. I have to admit, when the GenXer in me first saw these little squashes at the grocery store, my brain immediately went to that cute little bee who tempted our tummies with the taste of nuts and honey. I mean, that 80s jingle is just burned into my brain. Hey there, everybody. I am Scott, and welcome to Honey Nut Squashes 101. If you've seen these cute little gems at the grocery store and had questions, I've got you covered, including when you can find them, where you can find them, and what they taste like. So let's just get right into it. There's a very good reason these squashes look like baby butternut squashes. They're hybrids of the butternut. And as you can see, they're much smaller. These honey nuts are about 4 to 5 inches tall. So do good things come in small packages? Well, not only were honey nuts bred to be smaller in size, but they were bred to be more concentrated in flavor than their cousins. So about a year ago, I did a taste test on honey nuts. I roasted them up and did a nice little tasting of it, and I have to admit, I was not a super fan. The taste was pretty weak. One of the other things that intrigued me was that you could eat the skin. The skin was edible, so I was very excited to try the skin. Well, guess what? The skin was blech. Well, after I shot that video and edited it and uploaded it, well, I had a bunch more honey nuts left in my kitchen. I was like, well, I'm not going to waste them. I'll just roast them up and see if I can zhuzh them afterwards. So I did just that. I roasted them. And before I started to add cinnamon and sugar and all the things that make things delicious, I was like, well, I'll just taste it. And let me just tell you, those honey nuts, every single one of them, I think I had 3 left over. They were delicious. They tasted nothing like the one that I taste tested for the video. They were giving me notes of pumpkin, definitely butternut squash. Sweet potato even was coming through. I absolutely loved them. So the one that I taste tested must have been bad, or maybe it just wasn't as flavorful as the other ones, because I am definitely a honey nut fan now. So doing this video is my way of saying, so sorry about that, guys. These are really good. Now I will say I did eat the skin again, or test the skin again. It's thin, it's edible, not editable, it's edible. But it's not great. But the flesh is delicious. They're not too hard to cut open, but be careful if you do get a hard one. The inside is bright orange and there are seeds in there, but you can just scoop those out. I think the biggest downfall of the honey nut is that they are actually small. You can see there's not a ton of flesh in here. But that makes them perfect for a side dish. Just add a little cinnamon and maybe some maple syrup. You can also stuff them with other veggies or maybe some rice. If you've never seen or heard of a honey nut squash, well, that's probably because they were just bred into existence about 10 years ago. And for a long time, you really couldn't find them in many places. I remember seeing them at a farmer's market years ago. Well, that's all changed. You can find them in mainstream supermarkets. This one is from Trader Joe's. My whole batch is actually from Trader Joe's. And they usually come out when all the other squashes come out in the fall. Now, I don't think that they keep as long as the other squashes. You can see on this one, the top part is starting to kind of crackle a little bit. It's still good. I'm still gonna slice it and eat this up. So my unsolicited advice to you is when you see them, snap them up, because they are gonna be all the talk at your dinner table. Before I leave you, I have to circle back around to the Honeynut Cheerios aspect of this honey nut squash. There is really no connection other than the name. But as a GenXer, these were some of my favorite cereals as a kid. Well, I should just say Honeynut Cheerios was one of my favorites as a kid. I don't know, they probably, like every other cereal in the universe, have different iterations now. Unfortunately, I've been vegan for a few decades, so I have not partaken in Honeynut Cheerios in quite a long time. But something that I can enjoy are the 80s commercials. I have found a bunch here on YouTube. I will link them in the description box down below. Get ready to jump in your time machine and watch these amazing Honeynut Cheerios commercials. Thanks for being part of Honeynut 101. If you love learning about crazy fruits and vegetables, then you've got to check out my muscadine grape video and then my persimmon video. Thanks again, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.